Hey there, good Monday evening here on the Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show. So, we're here to do a look back at a classic rock album. It's actually a redo this week since we had a few albums from the past where I didn't have the best of optics or the video aspect of it in early time period of when I was doing this channel. And some of the videos I don't really like the way what I'm seeing, and this was one of the worst ones actually, I think, which was "Wish You Were Here" from Pink Floyd. I did this. I don't even know how long ago this was. It feels like it's about 3 years old though. And so I decided at some point I would, when I got to a better spot, I would do a redo of this album. So Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" is the redo for today. And go on a little bit. First of all, this album was released September the 12th, 1975, so like 51 years ago now. Recorded at EMI's record studio in London, England, 44 minutes in length on the Harvest Columbia labels, and produced by the entire band, Pink Floyd. Additional musicians include Vanetta Fields and Carlina Williams on backing vocals on the first 1 through 5 tracks of "Wish You Were Here." Sorry, "Shine On You Crazy Diamond." That's what I meant to say. Dick Perry on sax on that part of that song as well, and Roy Harper doing lead vocals on track number 3, which is "Have a Cigar." And then you also have Stephanie Grappelli on violin on the 4th track, which in this case is "Wish You Were Here," the title track. And then there's some unidentified musicians that appear on "Singing Glasses," and I assume that's on the 1st track as well, although it doesn't really say. Also, of course, the band Pink Floyd is appearing on their own album. Surprise, surprise. This features David Gilmour on all the guitars and lead vocals. Roger Waters on lead vocals and on bass. Richard Wright on all the keyboards and synthesizer parts. And, of course, Nick Mason on all the drums and percussion stuff as well. So 5 tracks in total, the first track and the last track being the 2 longest. And you got 3 smaller, less lengthwise tracks in the middle. But the whole album is just basically a greatest hits from my way of thinking. Very Floyd sounding. If there's a Floyd sound, this album has it. It's probably the prototype for the sound of Pink Floyd, actually, in a lot of ways. So the first track out is called "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," and this is part 1 on here, but it's actually parts 1 through 5 if you look inside of it. There's a lot. This is a very synthesizer-driven sound on this particular song. Heavy on the synthesizers and throughout most of the tracks, some iconic guitar parts here. The solo is very iconic sounding, great, slow, melodic, heavy, great stuff. It's got this kind of a low riff going on throughout the song, really catchy stuff, right? And then you got the vocal part, which is melodic, but both with the lead and with the backing vocals. Really strong song, really catchy. Typical up-tempo, well, not up-tempo, but kind of morbid sounding at times, but synthesizer-driven, almost a spacey feel to it. I don't mean morbid in a kind of death sound, but like a dark sound. That's probably a better word, actually. We'll stick with that one. So, yeah, really good song. They're all really good. There's nothing weak on this album at all. And this one is one of the better ones, too. Then the second track, "Welcome to the Machine," it's probably my favorite. I don't necessarily think it's the best track on the album, but it's probably my personal favorite. It's got this kind of factory-like opening, and then it's a pulsating noise with buzzers and stuff going off. The typical Pink Floyd thing, lots of sounds going on. The vocals are slow, low, processed, iconic sounding, really good. Sounds almost robotic at times. Lots of synthesizers here. The guitar part is an acoustic melodic sound as well. Yeah, just a really good song. I always think of this as being the kind of science fiction song. That's what I call it, the science fiction song. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's probably my favorite track on the album. Came to be with me when my friend, when I was younger, the guy I worked with in the bar, we worked all over the place, different places, had this on his answering service back in the day when you had a machine that actually did the answering for you. And he had put "Welcome to the Machine" as its opening to leaving a message, which I thought was really great. Next up is "Have a Cigar." This is the Roy Harper one. So the first one is Roger Waters, and the second one is Doug Gilmour on vocals. This one, Roy Harper on vocals as a guest musician. I think Roy Harper did something for Led Zeppelin as well. I believe he did. Heavy bass driven opening here with a guitar solo, melodic guitar solo going on throughout the bass driving the song here. The vocals are typical of Pink Floyd, deep, mystical sounding at times, very kind of slow, melodic, catchy as hell, really good. It has that Floyd sound to it throughout the whole thing. A nice, catchy, droning, melodic space sound as well. The solo is bitey, heavy, forward, dominating. Yeah, real catchy as well. I think this is one of the more memorable songs, even though "Have a Cigar" is probably probably the weak track on the album. Weak in the sense that it's the weakest of the five. Strong in the sense it's probably better than most bands' albums. Next up is "Wish You Were Here," the title track. Kind of weird that it's in the fourth spot. To me, this album should have been called "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," because that's pretty much most of the album is covered by that song. But they chose this as the title, "Wish You Were Here." Lots of voices here. It's got this kind of radio sound to it, like you're listening to the voices from a radio. Next is it's got a nice acoustic part, classical sounding, melodic, slow, emotional, very emotional. This track, I think, one of the more emotional. There's a second acoustic guitar that's kind of frontal to this one, so you got this background one and then this frontal one that comes in. More frontal. It's a lot clearer sounding too, I guess is a good word for it. Then you got these vocals that are clear, forward, emotional, strong, very catchy. I think it's probably the best track on the album. It's not my favorite, but I think it's probably the best track on the album. Very strong song. And the last track on the album, which is, again, over 12 minutes. The first track's over 13. This one's over 12. It's the part 2 of "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," which is actually parts 6 through 9. Some nice wind noises here and wave sounds at the beginning. Some vocals here, but not much. This is not a vocally driven song. It's spacey. It's melodic with some heavy rhythm section going on here as well. It slowly turns and becomes much more typical rock oriented. It's not so spacey. You get that guitar and the bass and the drums all hammering away here. I would say this is the most bass-driven track on the album. A little bit up-tempo, but melodic, screechy at times as well. And then you got this. It does drop a little bit and slows down, but still a really catchy sound. And yeah, I just think that the final part is probably to me is the weakest part of the album. But by far, well, between this and Have a Cigar, they're both probably in the same range. I use the word weakest only in reference to compared to the other songs. By no means are these weak tracks. There are no weak tracks on this album. In fact, if you were to list the 25 best Pink Floyd songs in their history, all 5 of these would be in there. So that's not weak at all. So that's my take on Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd's. And now I believe this is their 9th studio album. So yeah, really good album. Highly recommended. It always, whenever they're talking about Pink Floyd album, this one always is right at the top as being their best or one of their 2 or 3 best. It's always between this one and Dark Side of the Moon and of course, The Wall, and Animals is always in there too. So those 4 are probably their best albums. And Wish You Were Here is often rated by many people as their best album. So that's my take on Wish You Were Here from Pink Floyd. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to make any comments about this album, about how you view it, is it really what people say the best album, or is Dark Side better, or is The Wall better, or maybe one of the other ones you think is better? You can make those comments as too. If you want to talk about Pink Floyd, you can. That's all fine as well. Anyways, we will see you all next Monday night for another look back and another classic rock album here on the Prog Monster. So take care and have yourself a good evening, and goodbye.